So, you know how when you meet someone and like one of their first questions is what's your favorite color, the favorite music, and then your favorite movies? Usually you have to kind of lie on that one because really some of my favorite movies are Psycho, Sweeney Todd, Talented Mr. Ripley, and it doesn't take but a few moments for people to realize the common denominator in all of those movies, which is murder. That's the end of that online dating relationship. But here we're in a safe place. So I'm going to talk about my favorite genre, thriller and mysteries. And to start it off, I want to talk about the BBC America hit psychological thriller, which is Luther, starring Idris Elba, who is amazing. And one of the things that I love about this show is it's written and created by Neil Cross. He's a holistic storyteller. And what I mean by that is that you can't even isolate even a single season. You kind of have to watch all three to really understand the story because it all ties in together, which is something unique in the genre of mystery type, these detective shows. Luther is just a really deep story. It's really kind of a character study of the main character, who is an inspector in London, and the cases that he deals with, they're really psychological, so it's kind of a shout out to Sherlock Holmes cases. So it's really interesting in that sense. The show is really suspenseful and really thrilling. I think I developed a heart condition while watching it. It is finished. The series is over, which I was kind of seriously devastated when I found out. But good things is that Neil Cross and Idris Elba, they've both come out and said that there's talk of a film version of the film that's going to be a prequel to the series. There's a possibility of a spin-off series for Ruth Wilson's character, which would be really interesting because she's kind of psychotic. So that will be fun. Anyway, that's a great show. Another good show that I got into that lots of people already love is Homeland. And I tried to stay away from it for a long time because you know how when like someone you really don't like recommends a show and you're afraid to watch it because you're afraid that like your face is gonna fall off if you watch it, or God forbid this annoying person actually likes something good. So like this really annoying person, he kept telling me to watch Homeland, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna watch it. But then I finally did, and I'm definitely hooked just after the first episode. It's really interesting. Similar to Luther, we're dealing with kind of like a flawed hero figure, which is a heroine, in this case, Claire Danes. So it's this one's a political kind of thriller, and it's just really good. I don't have much to say about it though because I haven't even finished the first season, but I definitely recommend you watch it. I think I may be a day late and $1 short in this one too though, because I'm not sure if this one is ending as well. Finally, I'm going to talk about the movie Prisoners, which is directed by Denis Villeneuve. I think I said his name correctly, but I barely passed French. This is a great story. Since it's a mystery, I'm gonna keep my comments on a pretty benign, but I do want to talk about some of the devices that the director and writer use to kind of carry along the story, and I think they really use the use of setting and characterization to really drive the plot. So first I'll talk about setting. This film is set in Pennsylvania during the winter, but not just any time during the winter, it's the holidays. And this is really ironic because we have this really dark, heart-wrenching story about the kidnapping of two little girls, but the setting is like supposedly the best time of the year. So I think this ironic setting is intentional because it helps to bring to mind further themes in the film, which is kind of the close relationship that good and evil seem to have in this world, because it kind of is a harbinger for future themes in the film. Also, characterization, we have the two main characters are Detective Loki, who is the detective who's assigned to the case of finding the little girls, and Keller Dover, played by Hugh Jackman, and he's the father of one of the girls who were taken. So first I'll talk about Keller Dover. He's really interesting because in his vocation in life is a contractor for remodeling and repairing, and yet throughout the film we see him kind of literally tearing apart both people and things. So his character is literally a paradox, and it's really understandable, but I think this internal struggle that we see in him is representative of the film as a whole, which is a discussion about the warring relationship of good versus evil, and also faith versus not just lack of faith, but loss of faith. And then we have Detective Loki. He was my favorite character. He was definitely the hero of the story, but he's also a savior figure, and I think that's very specific that he's seen as a savior. And there's several things that I think it gives the audience that image in our heads. First of all, we're allowed into the homes of basically every other main characters in the film except for Detective Loki. And when we are first introduced to him, he's having Thanksgiving dinner by himself, and so we have this image of him as being friendless and kind of homeless, which reminds me of prophecy in Isaiah that the Son of Man, the Savior, will have no place to rest his head. So he also has a cross tattooed on his hand that's really prominent throughout the film, and he's just completely dedicated to eradicating the evil that he sees in the world. And I think it's also very intentional that he is a cop. So we have this, even in the secular sense, the police force is a representation of goodness in the world. So Detective Loki's character, he definitely reminds us that one of the discussions taking place in the film is the faith and lack of faith. But I really hope you guys give it a chance. It is definitely a tough movie to watch. From the movie, I learned that there are 3 things that I can't handle. I can't handle seeing children hurting, puppies hurting, and apparently Paul Dano, who is amazing in this role. Jake Gyllenhaal is also amazing. Anyway, I am done. I promise next time I'll pick a more lighthearted genre. Maybe we'll do romance and comedy. I don't know. We'll see. Watch it, find out.
So I stayed up and read, put your words in my head.